I was working in this cross section of a longer linear section, and I was trying to differentiate between the two soil colours. And I was working on the side of the pit where the more golden soil is, and 2 or 3 bits of white rough ceramic came out of the sides.
Here we've got a piece of, well, 4 pieces of some very old, possibly Anglo-Saxon pottery that have come out of Trench 1. They're very coarse, quite thick, grey fabric with a sort of a whiter, thinner layer. There's possibly a piece of glaze trapped in this a part of the pottery here. 2 of the pieces refit to form what part of possibly a rim. It's quite thick, grey and coarse looking, and from all these reasons we think it's probably a very early on piece of pottery.
It's not part of a mould or cast or something, you know.
Well, that's what
crucible.
I thought, yeah.
Actually, no, that doesn't look like an old crucible. That's pot, I think. If it's all part of the same thing, that's got a bit of a rim on it. It could be incredibly crude, handmade. I mean, incredibly crude. And its thickness varies so much. It's fired completely differently. And is that the bottom? Does that mean it's round bottomed? It's very chunky. It's very varied. I mean, you can see very clear colour variation between the inside and exterior faces. Where it's, yeah, that bit where it's relatively freshly broken. That colouring on the inside, I'm assuming, is reduction. So that's reduced iron creating that colour. So that's usually sort of basically firing in reduced conditions, as in low oxygen. So whether that's a process of secondary heating on a relatively poorly fired bit of clay due to, you know, extreme heat. But again, you know, if it was a crucible, you'd expect a broken crucible to have you know, traces of whatever was melted into it. And yet there doesn't seem to be anything vaguely like that. We'd need a real expert to tell us something about that. Doesn't have the look or feel of a sort of general bit of cooking pot or something. It looks something rather different. Whether that means it's metalworking related or just remarkably crude, I don't really know.